There's a debate in the Gemara regarding Yomim Tovim. How much time should a person spend on spiritual pursuits such as learning, such as davening, and how much time should a person spend on physical pursuits, eating, drinking, enjoying the Yom Tov? And the Gemara goes backwards and forwards. And when it comes to other Yomim Tovim, the Gemara says one thing. But when the Gemara turns to the conversation about the Yom Tov of Shevuos, the Gemara says everyone agrees that you need to have the time split up. There needs to be Chatzi Lochem and Chatzi LaHashem. There needs to be a partial amount of time set aside for spiritual pursuits, davening, learning, and there has to be also a specific amount of time designated for physical pleasure, for eating, for enjoying, drinking. And the question is obvious. Why is it, out of all the Yomim Tovim, particularly the Yom Tov of Shevuos is chosen as the Yom Tov, that one has to also eat, drink, and enjoy that part of physical part of the Yom Tov? Why can't I just learn all the time? Why can't I just daven the whole Yom Tov? What an opportunity Shevuos is. But yet the Gemara says no. We need to designate certain times for eating and drinking and certain times for spirituality, for actual learning. And the answer is that what is the Torah? The Torah isn't meant to just be a book of laws. It's not just something we learn, rather it's something we incorporate into our lives. Something we use and we instill within our lives the values that the Torah brings at that time. And that's the Yom Tov of Shevuos. The Yom Tov of Kabbalah HaTorah isn't just the Yom Tov where we receive the Torah, but it's also the opportunity to take that Torah into our very lives. And that's why specifically the Yom Tov of Shevuos, out of all the other Yomim Tovim, is the Yom Tov that a person has to be able to spend some time on physical aspects as well, on eating and drinking, so that we can take the Torah that we learn, the Torah that we know, and integrate it, instill it into our very physical parts of our lives. I remember one time, a number of years ago, I was asked to speak in a shul in Netanya, in Israel. And I went to speak there, a wonderful, wonderful crowd. And at the end of the speech, a man came over to me, an elderly fellow, and he says, "Rabbi, I must tell you something. You were speaking about Torah, and I have to tell you a story." He said, years ago, when I was 60 years old, unfortunately I was diagnosed with a terrible disease, and they didn't give me long to live. I turned to the Rabbi Shalom. I said, "Rabbi Shalom, I know I haven't spent too much time learning your Torah. I haven't done much in a spiritual advancement of my life." But he said, "Rabbi Shalom, if you keep me alive, I'm not just going to learn Torah. I'm going to teach other people Torah. I'm going to open up and start the very first Daf Yomi share in this shul, in this area." And he did it. The next week, he opened up a Daf Yomi Chabura, and a few people joined, and a few more people the next week. He said, "It's been 10 years. I finished the Shas, and I'm continuing to go, and I feel that the Torah is keeping me alive." When we realize on the Yom Tov of Shevuos that the Torah that we have is the Torah that we can take and use it into our very lives, then we've taken the greatest present that the Rebbeinu Shalom has given us and use it for our best advantage. Have a beautiful Yom Tov.